They already have you figured out. Right now, in every room you walk into, every conversation you sit in, every group you belong to, someone is running a quiet calculation on you. They are measuring your words, counting your complaints, watching how fast you react when something goes wrong. And if you have been loud, if you have been the man who speaks before he thinks, who defends before he breathes, who performs his pain in public, then they already know exactly how to use you. But there is a man they cannot calculate. There is a man who walks into the same room and registers as a threat before he ever says a word. Not because he is violent, not because he is cruel, because he is unreadable. And an unreadable man is the most dangerous thing most people will ever encounter in their lives. You are not here by accident. Some part of you already knew this was true. Some part of you has always known that the noise you've been making was costing you something, and you could never name what it was. Today, you find out. Pay attention, because what you are about to hear was never meant for you. I need to ask you something honest. How many times have you opened up to someone, really opened up, and felt the shift? Not right away. A few days later, a week later, the way they looked at you changed. The way they spoke to you softened, but not with respect, with pity, or worse, with the quiet confidence of someone who now knows where you are breakable. You thought transparency was connection. You were told it was strength. Every system around you, school, relationships, workplaces, social media, rewarded the man who shared, who expressed, who let people in. What none of those systems told you is this: in a world built on power dynamics, your emotional openness is a detailed manual on how to control you. Every complaint you make is a confession. Every frustration you broadcast tells the room exactly where to press to make you react. Every goal you announce, before it's complete, invites the people who benefit from your failure to begin working quietly against you. This is not a character flaw. You were never taught the rules of the actual game. You were handed the rules to a different game, one designed to keep you manageable, transparent, predictable. And predictable men do not rise, they serve. But that changes right now. 5 centuries ago, a man sat in a small study outside Florence, stripped of his position, exiled from power, with nothing left but his observations. He had watched princes rise and collapse. He had seen brilliant men destroyed by one fatal flaw, not weakness of body, not lack of intelligence, but visibility. He had watched men hand their enemies the exact weapons used to ruin them, using nothing but words. His name was Niccolò Machiavelli, and the book he wrote, The Prince, was so dangerous that governments tried to suppress it. Churches condemned it, and kings lost sleep over it. Because it told the truth about power without sentiment, without apology, and without mercy. Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." Not because coldness is the goal, but because the man who is loved is the man whose emotions are visible, whose loyalty can be assumed, whose pain can be leveraged, whose next move can always be predicted. The man who is quietly, calmly, unshakably composed. The man whose next move no one can forecast. That man operates in a dimension that most people will spend their entire lives never accessing. Machiavelli was not teaching cruelty. He was teaching sovereignty. Lesson 1. Silence is not emptiness. It is architecture. Every word you speak is a brick you hand to someone else to build a wall around you. The man who talks constantly about his problems, his ambitions, his wounds, is assembling his own cage and providing the blueprint. Silence is not the absence of thought. It is construction happening where no eyes can interfere. Think about the last time you told someone your plan before it was finished. What happened? Either they discouraged you with doubt dressed as concern, or they quietly positioned themselves to benefit from your work. The quiet man tells no one what he's building, until the building is already standing, unmovable and completely his. Starting today, announce nothing. Let results speak with a voice so undeniable that your words become unnecessary. Lesson 2, your complaints are a map to your weaknesses. When you complain, and I mean every time, every form, you are handing the room a detailed map of exactly where you hurt. And there are people in your life who have been collecting those maps for years, filing them, cross-referencing them, waiting for the moment they need leverage. You told your coworker you feel overlooked. Now he knows that ignoring you in a meeting costs him nothing but dismantles you completely. You told someone you fear being abandoned. Now they know the exact threat that makes you fold. Drop this in the comments. I give away nothing. I reveal nothing. The shift is simple but brutal. When something hurts, do not announce it. Sit with it privately. Let it sharpen something in you, instead of leaking out of you and into the hands of people who will use it. Lesson 3, movement without announcement is power. The lion does not schedule the hunt. The storm does not send a warning. Every force in nature that carries real weight shares one quality. It moves before the world knows it is moving. You have been trained to perform your progress, to post before the results arrive, to tell people you are changing before the change is complete. This is not authenticity. This is an invitation for interference. The moment you announce your evolution, every person who benefits from your current limitations quietly mobilizes. This knowledge is for protection, not destruction. Go silent on your goals. Let people believe you are still exactly who you were. Let them miscalculate you. And when you emerge, changed, elevated, untouchable, let that emergence be the only statement you needed to make. Lesson 4. Endurance is the one weapon no one can confiscate. They can take your job. They can damage your reputation in a room. They can remove access, withdraw attention, manufacture problems. But there is one thing they can never take: your capacity to endure without breaking. The quiet man is not quiet because nothing is happening inside him. He is quiet because he has made a sovereign decision that his inner world belongs to him alone and no one enters. Without his explicit permission, every time you absorbed pressure without reacting, you won something invisible and permanent. Every time chaos erupted around you and you stayed composed, you became fractionally more dangerous. Composure is not passive. It is the most aggressive assertion of control available to a human being. Drop this in the comments. My composure is my weapon. Lesson 5. The man who needs nothing has everything. Neediness is a transmission. It broadcasts your exact coordinates to everyone in the room. It says, here is what you can withhold to control me. And the world is full of people who operate by locating that signal and using it. Think about the men who command the most respect in any room you have ever entered. Were they chasing approval? Were they adjusting their behavior based on who was watching? Were they softening their edges to be more palatable? No. They moved through the room like the room was fortunate to have them present. That is not arrogance. That is the architecture of a man who has stopped outsourcing his self-worth to people who were never qualified to hold it. Lesson 6. Stillness is the final signal, and it changes everything around you. When everyone else is reacting, performing, and panicking, and you are still, you become the fixed point. And fixed points always become centers of gravity. The room begins to orient itself around the man who does not move. This is Machiavelli's deepest operating principle in human form. The leader who panics in the crisis is already deposed in the eyes of everyone watching. The man who remains still while everything fractures around, Him is not just surviving, and he's being selected by circumstance, by people in the room, by every force that is looking for something solid to anchor to. Drop this in the comments. I am the destination, not the pursuit. Lesson 7. The exit is the most powerful move on the board. Every dynamic you're in right now has one nuclear option. And it does not involve a single word, a single confrontation, a single raised voice. It is the exit, the calm, permanent, unannounced withdrawal of your presence. The man who explodes is expected. He is managed. He is handled. But the quiet man who simply stops showing up, who removes himself completely, without drama, without a speech, rewrites the power structure of every dynamic he exits. He was never losing. He was simply finished investing in the wrong return. You have stayed in rooms that diminished you because leaving felt like defeat. But Machiavelli understood this with perfect clarity. The man who chooses when to leave on his own terms, without performance, that man has never lost anything. He has only redirected a resource too valuable to waste. Drop this in the comments. I exit on my terms, always. You were lied to, not maliciously, not always with intent, but lied to nonetheless. You were handed a set of instructions for how to be a man. Share your feelings, communicate your needs, let people in. Be the open, available, emotionally transparent version of yourself. And while you followed every rule, you were being managed, kept, precisely small enough to remain useful to the people around you. The old you is dead. The man who complained in public, who announced his pain, who handed out maps to his vulnerabilities to anyone who would listen, he is gone. What remains is something they cannot calculate, something that does not broadcast its position, something that moves without permission and builds without announcement. You are a weapon, pointed at your own future. No one receives access to your inner architecture anymore. No one gets coordinates to where you break. No one sees the move until it has already landed. You absorb. You observe. You build in the dark. You emerge only when the work is complete. You belong to no one, not to the people who mapped you, not to the rooms that tried to contain you, not to the version of yourself that let them. You are the quiet man. And the quiet man, and the still, composed, sovereign, unreadable man, is the most dangerous person in any room he chooses to enter. If something in this video landed, if a door opened somewhere in you that you had forgotten was there, then you already know what this channel is. We do not make content for everyone. We make content for the man who is ready. The man who is done being readable, done being managed, done showing up fully for people who would not cross the street for him. If that is you, subscribe. Not for this channel, for the version of yourself that is already forming in the silence you are about to choose. And before you leave, one question. I want you to sit with this for 48 hours. What is the one thing you have been loudly announcing to the world that you should have been quietly building in silence? Leave your answer below, then close this app and go build it.
It's your